Hello friends, welcome to Global Online. Friends, in this video we are going to discuss about indifference curve analysis for your upcoming UGC NET or SET in economics. So if you want to join our crash course for UGC NET or SET in economics for the year 2022, here we are providing complete theory lectures, complete MCQs lectures. We are providing mock tests on entire units with solution PDF. Then notes are available on all the units. Practice MCQ set is available. So if you want to join this crash course, you can contact this number, and you can also download Global Online app from Play Store, and by registering using your mobile number, then you can search UGC NET economics, then you can access all the material here. So let us move to the today's topic. In today's video we are going to discuss about consumer behavior. So when it comes to consumer behavior, theory of consumer behavior, it is going to deal with the behavior of the individual or group of people, how they are going to behave. So how they are going to behave in the market while buying the goods and services. That all we are going to discuss in this topic. So here consumer always wants to maximize his level of satisfaction. So there are two types of analysis here. The first one is cardinal utility analysis and the second one is ordinal utility analysis. So very basic concept, as you all know about this. So next let us study utility. So utility means, it is a want satisfying power of the good. Whenever we are going to buy goods or services, the good or service is having some satisfaction, it is having some utility. For that we are going to buy the good because it will satisfy our want. So that is known as the utility. So now let us see cardinal utility analysis. Cardinal utility, it is given by Alfred Marshall, and according to Marshall, utility can be measured in numbers. So that is called utils. So we can measure the utility by using numbers, that in utils. For example, the pen gives 20 utils of utility. For example, law of diminishing marginal utility, law of demand, etc. So cardinal utility analysis is given by Alfred Marshall, and according to this we can measure the utility in numbers, and here the measuring rod is utils. Then ordinal utility analysis. So ordinal utility analysis, here we cannot measure the utility in numbers, instead we can give ranks to them. So we cannot measure the utility in numbers, and this ordinal utility analysis was given by Hicks and Allen, and we cannot measure in numbers. Consumer is able to give rank for different commodities on the basis of satisfaction derived from different goods. For example, there are two goods here, one is apple and another one is banana. So if I like more bananas and if I like apples less, then I can give grade A to banana, then grade B to apples. Yes, if I like bananas, so I am giving grade A to bananas. I don't like apples, so I give grade B to apples. In this way, consumer can give grades or ranks to the different commodities, but he cannot measure the utility in numbers. And this ordinal utility analysis is based on transitivity and consistency. For example, indifference curve analysis. So next let us study about law of diminishing marginal utility. This theory is related to cardinal utility analysis. Here also here we can measure the utility in numbers. So this theory is also known as the Gaussian's first law. Then this law simply tells us that the marginal utility from consuming each additional unit of a commodity declines as its consumption increases. So we know marginal utility means whenever the consumer goes on consuming additional units of a good, as the utility is derived from this additional goods or additional units, it is known as the marginal utility. So but here this theory is going to tell that the marginal utility from consuming each additional unit of a commodity declines. For example, if I consume first mango and I'll consume second mango, third mango, so it means this theory tells that whenever I consume second and third mango, yes, the utility derived from second mango is less than first mango. Again, the utility derived by consuming third mango is less than the second mango. So in this way, whenever the consumer goes on consuming additional units of a commodity marginal utility goes on decreasing. So this is known as the law of diminishing marginal utility. This we can also study by using this table here. The TU total utility and MU means marginal utility. So when here the consumer is going to consume apples. So when the consumer consumes first mango, the utility derived is 40, and from second mango 30 utils, from third mango 20, fourth mango 10, fifth mango 0, because here the consumer has already consumed four mangoes. So after that he doesn't want to consume apples here, but even though if he consumes mango, he won't receive any utility here. Then here he has to stop consuming the goods, but even though if he consumes, he will not derive any utility, so marginal utility will become negative here, but total utility is increasing here. And whenever the marginal utility becomes 0, the total utility will be maximum, and when the marginal utility becomes negative, total utility starts decreasing. So these are the points you must remember here, and this we can also study by using this diagram here. So on the y-axis we have taken on the x-axis we have taken number of apples, on the y-axis we have taken utility here. So here marginal utility is the mu is the marginal utility curve, and tu is the total utility curve. So in this way, marginal utility curve, it is downward sloping straight line, and total utility curve initially it increases, but after some time it starts decreasing. So where marginal utility becomes 0, at that point total utility reaches highest point, and when marginal utility starts negatively, then total utility starts decreasing. So these points you must remember, and this point is known as the satiety point, because this is the highest utility consumer can derive. Next, let us study about indifference curve analysis. So indifference curve analysis was first given by F.Y. Edgeworth in the year 1881. Then this indifference curve analysis was used by Higgs in 1939 in his value and capital. Then principle of indifference curve, it is based on diminishing marginal rate of substitution, MRS. Then IC approach, it is based on ordinal utility. Then indifference curve, it's going to show us the different combinations of two goods in which the consumer gets equal level of satisfaction. And here we cannot measure the utility in numbers. Instead we are going to give different ranks to the different commodities. So here indifference curve deals with different combinations of two commodities where the consumer is going to get equal level of satisfaction. So let us study it by using diagram, then you will understand it. And there are some features of indifference curve. Here utility cannot be quantifiable, means we cannot measure the utility in numbers. The consumer is capable of simply comparing the different level of satisfaction. So based on this satisfaction level, he can give ranks to the goods. So here you will understand it by here combination A is there. In combination A, good X and good Y and banana. Sorry, this is combination, and this is good X or biscuits, and this is good Y. In combination A, consumer is getting 1 biscuit and 12 bananas. Yes, he will derive some level of the satisfaction. And when he if he moves to combination A, yes, he can choose any one combination here. If he wants to choose combination B, he will get 2 biscuits and 8 bananas. Yes, here the number of bananas are reduced here, but the number of biscuits are increased here. Because of this, one good has increased but other good has increased here. So because of this, the consumer will get same level of satisfaction. So his level of satisfaction or utility is not decreasing here. So because let us move to the third combination. So in combination C, he will get 3 units of biscuits, 5 units of bananas. Yes, 3 units of bananas are reduced here, but for this one more unit of biscuit he is going to get. So whatever utility he is sacrificing in bananas, it is substituted in the biscuits, because he is getting more utility in biscuits. So because of this, he will, on any combination either A, B, C, D and E, consumer will get same level of satisfaction. So this is known as the indifference curve analysis. So because here decreasing MRS, marginal rate of substitution, is decreasing here. So if you observe, first he was 12 to 8 means he was sacrificing 4 bananas. For 4 bananas he was getting 1 biscuit. In the next stage, for sacrificing 3 bananas he is getting 1 more biscuit. And for next stage, for sacrificing only 2 bananas, he will get 1 more biscuit. And in next stage, by sacrificing only 1 banana, he will get another unit of biscuit. So this is, here MRS is going to decrease. So when I am decreasing MRS, so because of this, his level of satisfaction remains same. So this we can also study by using this diagram here. So okay, so here on x-axis we have taken good X biscuit, on good Y we have taken on the y-axis. So if we go through this, there are many combinations here, such as L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. So here on this curve, so this is known as the indifference curve. On this curve there are various combinations are available, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. So if he buys any combination, consumer will get same level of satisfaction, because if he sacrifice some of good Y, he will get more of good X. So because of this, any combinations lying on the indifference curve will give same level of utility to the consumer. So this is known as the indifference curve analysis. And let us see what do you mean by MRS. So marginal rate of substitution. It means that it is the rate at which a consumer can give us some amount of one good in exchange for another good while maintaining the same level of utility. So as I told you in the previous slide, so if the consumer wants to buy more of good X, for this he is going to sacrifice good Y. So this is known as the MRS. At what rate the consumer is going to sacrifice good Y in order to get more of good X. That rate is known as the MRS. And at equilibrium consumption level, MRS are identical. So their MRS formula is MRS is equal to marginal utility of good minus marginal utility of good X divided by marginal utility of good Y. Next, let us see some properties of indifference curve. There are some properties. Sometimes we may expect questions on these properties also. The first one is indifference curve slopes downward from left to right. Because of decreasing MRS, the indifference curve always slopes from left to right. And indifference curve, higher the indifference curve gives higher level of utility. Yes, higher the IC gives higher level of utility, and lower the IC gives lower level of utility. And remember, two indifference curve never intersect each other, because here, as I told you, just any point which is lying on the same IC will give a same level of utility, but higher the IC gives higher level of utility. If both the curves intersect, it means that both the indifference curves are giving same level of utility, but this is not possible in indifference curve analysis. Two indifference curves cannot give same level of satisfaction. So two indifference curve will not intersect each other. Next, indifference curve will not touch any axis. So as I told you, while studying this indifference curve analysis, we are considering two goods here. So if any curve touches x-axis, if any curve touches any axis here, so if IC touches x-axis, it means that he is buying only good X. but in indifference curve we are studying two goods. So indifference curve will not touch any axis, and indifference curves need not to be parallel. Yes, yeah, we know higher the IC gives higher level of utility, lower the IC gives lower level of utility, but no, so no need to be two indifference curves, no need to be parallel. So these are the some properties of indifference curve. So next let us study about indifference map. So indifference map, it is a graphical representation of two or more indifference curves. So here you can observe this is IC1, this is IC2, and this is IC3. So when it comes to indifference curves map, we are combining two or more indifference curves, and here higher the indifference curve will give higher level of utility, lower the indifference curve will give lower the level of utility. And the consumer always wants to move to the higher level of indifference curve in order to get maximum satisfaction. So next let us see indifference curve in case of some goods. So first let us see indifference curve in case of perfect substitutes. If two goods are perfectly substitutable, then indifference curve, let us see, if two goods let us take x and y are perfect substitutes, the indifference curve is a straight line with negative slope. So in case of perfect substitutes, the indifference curve will be straight line with negative slope, and here MRSXY will be constant. Then MRSXY, the value will be 1. So in this case the consumer does not differentiate between these two goods and regards them as the same commodity, such as two brands of tea. So when it comes to substitute goods, the consumer is not going to differentiate, he is ready to buy any good. So in this case the indifference curve will be straight line with negative slope, and MRS, marginal rate of substitution, is constant. MRSXY value will be 1. So here you can see the indifference curve in perfect substitute. It is downward sloping straight line with negative slopes. Please remember this. And here MRSXY is constant. So next, indifference curve in case of perfect complementary goods. So when in case of complementary goods, the indifference curve is right angled or L shaped. Yes, please remember one question has arisen here. So in case of perfect complementary goods, the indifference curve will be L shaped. And if the two goods x and y are consumed in the desired ratio as indicated by the slope of the ray or at point M, so MRSXY is equal to 0 here. So in case of perfect complementary goods, MRSXY will be 0, and this is the this is the indifference curve in case of complementary goods. It is L shaped curve. Next, indifference curve in case of bad commodity. Suppose a bad commodity, for example pollution. Yes, suppose a bad is represented on the x-axis and a commodity which is good is represented on the y-axis, then the indifference curve will be sloping upward. So here we have taken pollution, that is bad commodity, on the x-axis, and good commodity, that is cloth, on the y-axis. Then the indifference curve will be upward sloping. So this is the case of bad commodity. Then indifference curve in case of neutral good. So a commodity can be neutral, in which case the consumer does not care whether he has more or less of that commodity. The consumer will not think whether he is having more or less. That commodity is known as the neutral commodity. So in this case, on the other hand, if a commodity Y is neutral, Y and X is good or normal good, then indifference curve will be vertical or vertical straight line. So if we have taken the neutral good on the y-axis and normal good on the x-axis, then indifference curve is vertical straight line. And oppositely, if the good x is neutral and good y is normal, then the indifference curve will be horizontal. So here you can observe. So here the indifference curve shape is vertical straight line because here y good is neutral, and here uh, the indifference curve is horizontal, here good x is neutral. Next, let us study about budget line. So budget line means this is also known as budget constraint, and it show all the combinations of two commodities that a consumer can manage to afford at the provided market prices within the particular earning degree. So here budget line shows the combination of different goods where a consumer can buy by using all his income. So indifference curve shows combination of two goods where the consumer is going to get same level of utility, but the budget line shows his ability to purchase the goods and services. So budget line shows the combination of two goods which are available to the consumer at his given level of income and market price. So the budget line, it is a graphical representation of all possible combinations of the two commodities that can be bought with provided income and cost, so that the price of each of these combinations is equivalent to the consumer's income. So there are various combinations are available to the consumer at a given level of income, so he can buy any one combination. So to understand this concept of budget line is in detailed manner, it is important to understand the mentioned equation. So let us see the equation is m is equal to px multiplied by qx plus py multiplied by qy. So please remember this equation. Here px is the cost of product of good x, qx is the quantity of good x, py is the cost or price of good y, qy is the quantity of good y, and m is the consumer's income. So please remember this formula. So now let us study budget line by using this table. So budget line means, as we all know, it shows the combination of two goods which are available to the consumer at a given level of income and prices. So here prices and income are given here. So the consumer's income is 50 rupees and the price of the biscuit is 10 rupees per packet, and the price of price of the cream biscuit is 10 rupees per packet, price of plain biscuit is 5 rupees per packet. So prices are also given, consumer's income is also given. So in this case A, B, C, D, E, F, so there are 6 combinations are available to the consumer. So he can choose any one combination here. So if he buys any combination, his total expenditure will be 50 only. So the income is given here, and here we are imagining that the consumer is going to spend his entire income. So in this case, if he buys combination A, here he is not going to buy cream biscuits, he will buy only plain biscuits. Then he will get 10 units of plain biscuits, and he will spend 50 rupees. And if he doesn't want to buy plain biscuits, he wants to buy only cream biscuits, then he can choose combination F, where he is buying 5 units of cream biscuits and 0 units of plain biscuit. Then also will spend his entire income, and the remaining combinations are showing combination of both cream biscuit and plain biscuit. In combination B, he is buying 1 unit of cream biscuit and 8 units of plain biscuits, and he will spend 50 rupees only. In combination C, he will buy 2 units of cream biscuit and 6 units of plain biscuits. Again his expenditure will be 50 only. So combination D, 3 units of cream biscuits, 4 units of plain biscuits. His total expenditure 50 only. So in this way, budget line shows combinations of two goods which are available to the consumer at his given level of income and prices. This we can also study by using this diagram here. So this curve is known as the budget line. On X we have taken cream biscuit, on Y we have taken plain biscuit. So it shows the combinations which are available to the consumer at a given level of income and prices. So this is, and sometime budget line will also shift. So let us see when the budget line is going to shift. So let us, in this diagram, let us take AB is our initial budget line. So when the budget line is going to shift. Imagine if the consumer's income is going to increase. So when consumer's income increases, he will buy both the goods in more quantity. So at that time budget line will shift rightwards. Now imagine if the consumer's income has decreased. When consumer's income decreases, he will buy both the goods in less quantity. So budget line will shift leftwards. And sometimes the change in price will also lead to shift in the budget line. So here in this diagram, let us take good Y's price is same here, but there is a change in the good X's price. So let us take BL is the initial budget line now. Now there is no change in the price of good Y. So you will buy the same amount of good Y, but the price of good X has decreased. So because of decrease in the price of good X, consumer will buy more of good X. So budget line will shift BL to BL dash. And let us imagine if the price of good X increases, so you will buy the same amount of good Y because the price is same there, but the price of good X has increased, so he will buy less quantity of good X. So in this case budget line will shift from BL to BL double dash. And in the same way, if there is any change in the price of good Y while price of good X is constant, then also budget line will shift. So you can understand it by looking at this diagram. So next let us understand about consumers equilibrium. So consumers equilibrium means it is a situation where consumer spends his given income purchasing one or more commodities so that he gets maximum satisfaction and no urge to change this level of consumption given the prices of the commodities and consumers income level. So consumers equilibrium means, yes, it is the combination where the consumer is going to choose it, and this combination is giving him higher level of satisfaction and he doesn't want to change it. So in this way consumers equilibrium is known as the optimum choice of the consumer. It reaches where the consumer is going to get higher level or maximum level of the satisfaction. And there are some conditions for this. The first condition is budget line is tangent to the indifference curve. So where the budget line is going to tangent to the indifference curve, that is known as the consumer's equilibrium. And also the second condition is indifference curve is tangent to the origin. So sorry, here the second condition is the MRSXY must be declining. So the first condition is budget line is tangent to the indifference curve, and the second condition is MRSXY must be declining at that point. It means indifference curve must be convex to the origin. So these are the two conditions here. One is budget line is tangent to the indifference curve, and the second condition is indifference curve is convex to the origin. Then it means MRSXY is declining. At that point the consumer we can find the consumer's equilibrium. So let us study it by using this diagram. So here you can see, to find the consumer's equilibrium we can bring together indifference curve, map and budget line. So here yes, this curve is budget line and there are 5 indifference curves are there: IC1, IC2, IC3, IC4 and IC5. So IC5 and IC4, yes, these curves are not going to touch the budget line, so consumer will not find any equilibrium on the IC4 and IC3. So but when it comes to consumer will not find any equilibrium on IC5 and IC4, but when it comes to IC3, so IC3 at point Q, yes, just observe, if you observe here, IC at point Q, budget line is tangent to the indifference curve and indifference curve is convex to the origin. So this is optimal choice of the consumer. So this is known as the consumer's equilibrium. At this point he is buying OM quantity of good X and ON quantity of good Y. And if you go through the another curve, that is IC2, there are two combinations here. One is here IC is crossing the budget line at point S and also at point T. Why he will not choose these two combinations? Because consumer always wants to move to the higher indifference curve in order to get more level of the satisfaction at the same market price, at the same income level. Here he can purchase more of good X here at point Q, and here IC3 it gives him more level of satisfaction. So consumer will buy, consumer equilibrium will be found at the point Q, where budget line is tangent to the indifference curve. So here it is a consumer's equilibrium point. So next let us see income effect on consumer's equilibrium. So whenever consumer's income increases, his budget line will shift parallel and upward. When his income decreases, budget line will shift downwards. Yes, we have studied in the previous slide. So as the income changes, a new equilibrium is established and the consumer move from one equilibrium point to the another equilibrium point. Such movements show the rise or fall in the consumption basket. This is known as the income effect on consumer's equilibrium. So here if you see, for example, here E1 is the initial equilibrium point because IC budget line is tangent to the IC2. So it is equilibrium point here. If consumer's income increases, his budget line will shift to M2 to N2. Initially budget line was M1 N1, but now due to increase in the income, budget line will shift to M2 N2. So again here you will find a new equilibrium point, that is E2. And when consumer's income decreases, his budget line will shift downwards. So again he will find new equilibrium point, that is E. So if you join all these equilibrium points, you will get a curve. This curve is known as the income consumption curve. Then next topic is angel curve. So angel curve means this curve is named after the German statistician Ernst Angel. And angel curve, it is related to the amount of commodity purchased to the level of income, holding prices of the goods constant. So angel curve shows the relationship between demand for the good and level of income. So the angel curve related to the amount of good purchased to the level of income. So angel curve in case of normal good, it is upward sloping straight line. Angel curve in case of luxurious good, so this is the upward sloping curve, but it is not straight line in case of luxury goods. In case of inferior goods, the angel curve is downward sloping. So please, in case of normal goods, the angel curve is upward sloping, but in case of inferior goods, the angel curve is downward sloping, and this is in case of luxury goods. Okay friends, this is about today's class. In the next class we will discuss with other topics, and if you want to join our UGC NET set in economics crash course, here you will get complete theory lectures, complete MCQs lectures, entire syllabus mock tests are available with solution PDF, notes are available on all the units, practice MCQ set is available. If you want to join, you can contact this number. You can also download our global online app from Play Store and you can join. Yes, I wish all the best.